Kian asked about MS and like stereo widening. I've gotten mixes back from people and do you do any of that? Do you think about that? I mean, you're even talking about, you were talking about background vocals versus lead vocals when you're doing some bussing. Go off however you want on that.
Yeah, that's pretty specific. That's transient detection. So it might grab transients faster on the sides than on the mono image.
So that the lead vocal pops out a little bit more.
A little bit more. Those are subtle ways of creating width. I'm very, how do I put this? I'm very, very against the use of stereo widening tools as a whole, but I do use them subtly and very, very carefully.
You got a grin on your face. I want to know what that's about.
It's hard to talk about this. Like I don't put it, you can never hear it when I use it. I go to where I hear it and then I always pull it back, and not one click, like a few clicks. It shouldn't be audible. It's something that you can't even really hear. You just feel. It's fucking with phase, right? So it's using phase from the mono to the sides,
which makes things less clear, basically, if you put it on there,
or audible on other devices. So you have to be very careful. So the first thing to discuss is being careful with it. I would advise not using it most of the time. So it's a hard thing to say. Like that's one of those things that I would say let a professional do it. Like if you're second guessing how it feels, like let me do it. I think there are better ways to get things wide than using those tools. Now,
like what?
Like panning.
Oh yeah.
Like a range. That. Like if you put a thing in the mono and then you put two things 100% left and right, the perceived width is going to be as wide as possible. You don't need to go outside the speakers for it to feel any wider. Now, when you start overdoing it and there's like a million things in your arrangement and you can't get the definition of the width that you want because everything's panned left and right, that's when you're starting to look for that width, but it's an arrangement first thing. So yeah, I rarely use it. If I do, it's on upper mid frequencies and up. I don't widen low mids or lows. I don't mono make low end. I filter things on the sides to get rid of the low end on the sides when applicable. Sometimes the synth goes low on the sides and it feels good, and it's like it's clashing with the other bass, and it's adding this mystery to the low end and the upper bass. Like again, these are not one size fits all. I don't filter up to 100 on everything on the sides. I can safely say that I do that on the most things and allow most of the bass between 100 and down to be in the mono. Like, yes, there are certain parameters that I think within to start, but that all fluctuates depending on the record. So MSEQ is cool. It's nice to have, especially if you're getting stems that multiple sounds are printed into the same stem. So it's mostly surgical. I don't find it useful when something already sounds really good. I think it should be only used within surgical moves, and
almost like it's a repair tool.
It's a repair tool. I will, if someone says, "Hey, I want the guitarist to feel a little wider," and they're already wide, instead of putting a widening plugin on, I might use FabFilter Pro Q3 and only add like 8K and above or some air and above on the sides subtly. Like it will never be more than a dB or two. Above that, I start feeling the phase shift too much. So I will use it, but again, it's not like most mixes I do don't have any of it on it. So I should state that. So it's very much minimally used.
This is one of those topics that I hope many engineer people really get a lot out of, and I don't. I understand all of it, but it almost feels beyond my pay grade. The idea of subtly using 8K boost in just that, just the stereo. It's great. I mean, this is why you're great.
Job is in the fine details.
Yeah, I love it.
So I'm thinking of other ways. Basically, why I brought that up is I'm thinking of other ways to get width than putting a widener on all the time. Very rare that I put one on. I think I have a subtle bit from high mids and up on a background vocal bus on like a keyboard or synth bus or a guitar thing, just to get things out of the way, the vocal subtly, but I'm never going above like a 2 to 5% on whatever the plugin difference is. Like
you're pretty much never using it on the mix bus.
No, not on the mix bus.
Yeah.